Hey, Choice here. Thank you so much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. Here I want to take a moment and go back into genetics. It's only so that you can peek the game, really, and be able to see what's really going on, okay? So I talked to you about belief. Your genes, your DNA can be altered by your perception. By your perception. Now, I've done videos on perception, but let me just go briefly. Perception is your awareness of the environment. Perception is what your senses pick up in the environment. Taste, sight, sound, feeling. And the senses go on because it's more than, as I said before in a number of my other videos, it's more than 5 senses, 6 senses, 7 senses, or the 6th sense, your intuition, they will call this. But it's more than that. Your body has more senses to it, more so than what they are aware of, than what they know. There's actually more senses in the body. But anyway, perception is whatever you are aware of in the environment. So what does this mean? If it's all about perception, then it's all about you and how you see the world. And based on how you see the world is how you are forming your world, your reality. Is according to your perception. And so therefore your perception will inform your DNA on what it must do or what is needed in order to navigate and fulfill the prophecy that you have set based on your perception. I don't know if that makes sense. When we know better, we can do better. When you know that your perception basically controls your behavior, you will move based on how or what you believe to be real in your world. You will make decisions based on what you believe to be real in your world. This is why it's important to understand what perception is and how your perception is formed. Your perception is formed based on what you sense the outside world to be. So if you believe the outside world is attacking you, is something by which to be feared, you will create signals that will signal your DNA to create things. So your DNA react to signals. And the signal comes by the way of what you believe you are sensing. And based on what you believe you are sensing, that signal is then sent to the protein in your DNA and eventually will begin to adjust things according to what you believe. It's almost in terms, if you're thinking in terms of being raised in a very cold environment. And eventually that perception of cold will cause your body to begin to do things so that your body can then be protected against the cold. So, i.e., you might get a little furry. You may end up with more hair on your body eventually because the signal is it's cold and I need warmth. And so therefore your body will begin over time producing things, producing that so that you would have the protection for that. So we're not going to go way into that. I'm just touching on this a little bit so that you understand, you know that the power is within. And it's within based on how you perceive and what you feel about things will then determine what your life will be and how you your environment, you will call forth the environment so that is in alignment with what your prophecy is, what your beliefs are about the environment. So if you believe you're in a hostile environment, things will happen so that you call forth the environment. I talked to you before about when your DNA is in a hostile environment, it doesn't allow it to operate at its full capacity. And so I know that this may be a little, and I'll go back and touch on it a little bit until we really get it. But the whole gist of this thing is so that you know that all power is within you. Whatever anyone is talking about doing with DNA or this planet or anything else, you can shut it down based on your beliefs. Now, this is important. What happens with us, we're collective. We feed into the collective. We feed into the collective. And as a result, we end up by default flowing with the flow of the collective mind, the way of thinking, the way of believing, okay, of the majority. So then we end up in an environment where the majority rules, so to speak. And in order to move away from the flock, you really have to get firm on what it is that you choose to believe for yourself in your life, for your universe, for your world. More of us that become aware that we do have control over this thing to some degree, the better it will be for the masses. But if we're going along believing we're powerless, that we have no power, then we will just go along with whatever narrative someone else has written for us. And I talked about that as well. So if we do not create our own and write our own for ourselves, we will then be caught up in something else. So let me try to pull this together. Let me try to pull this together. Let's see. I said it several times, I'll say it again. All power is with you. It's within. It's your choice. And though there is a collective mindset, more and more people are becoming aware of this. People joke about being woke or awakened or enlightened or whatever, awareness or whatever word someone wants to use. Once you know that your beliefs, your perception of whatever it is that you're witnessing sends waves, signals to your protein, your DNA, your genes, as to what is real for you. It's almost like a law that's passed for you. You alter your own DNA through sending signals to your protein that is part, there with your DNA, instructing and informing on what you need to survive and what you need to have. And based on that is what it will do. It's how it will trigger, your perception triggers behaviors. And those behaviors, we'll talk into behavior and habitual behaviors, and how that alters, change, manifests, call forth, creates your reality, your perception, your beliefs. Does all of this. So, I have to do better at being able to explain it where it's just like where you just say your body, your mind says, I got it. And then you take it and you use it and you apply it in life, knowing that you have absolute control over your beliefs, you have absolute control over your perception, you have absolute control. And these things is what creates your life. All based on belief and perception. So once you really get this, no one will be able to sit up there and call you out and label you as anything, and you accept that as your reality, knowing that all power is within. And then you sit there and let somebody else take control of it. It just won't make sense to you anymore. All power is with you. When someone labels you, you accept that label as true based on your perception and your belief. Based on your belief and your perception, you accept it as true. What are you doing? You're altering your DNA. The proteins that send the signal to your DNA to reveal, to open, to allow. Someone wants to call you poor and you continue to hear it over and over and over, and then you accept that as your reality, as true. Then what will you have to become? You would have to become that, maintain that, loop that reality as your own, because you have accepted it as truth. And you allow it to become part of your DNA, which then continues to create that. Not to mention your offspring. Then has to do the work to reverse it, to change it. If someone has an idea of you as anything else, or you yourself call yourself by name, and you continue to call yourself by that name, you too are altering. You're sending out a vibrational frequency that must show itself. So anyway, quick word, much love. I'll keep talking, I'm going to keep talking. Anytime you have to, maybe this is not the video you want to tune into, because I was all over the place, and it does dive a little deeper, but each one to get a little more, Hey, get your mind back. And when you think you got it, think again. All these subliminal messages going around, think again. Keeping it real. Much love. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. Love you.